Welcome to Technology and Education. Today I'm Richard Smith.
And I'm Caroline Crawford.
And today we are talking about the type of research responsibilities a new faculty member would have at a college or university. Caroline, what should a new faculty member keep in mind when it comes to research?
Well, the first thing to keep in mind is it is a process. You're not expected to hit the ground running. Everyone understands you've just finished a dissertation within the past maybe year's time. And one of the ways that a lot of people do begin is looking around and getting to know your colleagues, your faculty colleagues. What are they interested in? Does it align nicely with what you find of interest? And developing those collaborations as well. Not only focusing upon national and international presentations, which is also a vital component so that you can get out there and get to know other people in your field, and as well as your name recognition and people get to know you, which is vitally important in this field. Not only what kind of research you do, but also what your personality is. What kind of person are you? It's amazing. You and I did this. We've done presentations together at different international conferences and national conferences. People come up afterwards and want to talk to you about what you just presented, and especially if you're more on an innovative slant, they want to get to know you and, hey, we're really interested in what you're doing. We'd like to talk with you further, and that's why you should always have your cards with you at conferences.
But before you can do that presentation, you have to do the research.
Well, that depends. There are different areas within the research realm. It can be theoretical in nature. It can be data-driven, qualitative or quantitative. It depends upon who you are, what your subject matter is, and what your personality type is, what you find of interest. You may have, from when you were doing your dissertation, you may have several different theoretical models that you want to further develop and get published. Absolutely, go for it. The opportunity to be at a conference and discuss your ideas with other people, other colleagues that are showing up to your presentation because they are interested as well, is vitally important to you to think about things in a different manner than you might have if you just published your work as is without developing that collegial discussion.
Well, how many articles should a new assistant professor be expected to produce at the end of 1 year?
Oh, wow.
If any?
It usually, like, I just had an article published in an international refereed, and it took 9 months to hear back from them. So it takes time. Get started now.
But
publish.
But
develop the research, develop the manuscript.
But you're trying to get tenure,
right?
And there's a tenure committee reviewing you, and they're going to want to see a certain number of articles dependent upon the type of institution that you are in.
Right.
And
absolutely.
so, how many articles should an assistant professor be expected to have at the end of 1 year?
The smart aleck response is the more the better. The more that you have, the more you have to choose from, the more name recognition you have, the better. At least at the institution where I reside, it's supposed to be anywhere from 6 to 10
for
national refereed publications.
For a new assistant professor?
For someone going up for promotion and tenure.
Okay, but just at the end of the first year, should the new assistant professor feel a lot of pressure? Let's say you're at a level 2 or tier 2 or tier 3 college, to have 2, 3, 4 articles, or should that person wait
2,
until
3,
the second?
4 articles in the loop? Yes, you should always. This is a third of your job. You should always be working on your research.
Yes.
Always, always, always.
Not necessarily published, but you're working on them.
You're working on them. You may have manuscripts in development. You may have them under review, but always have something out there. Always, always, always have something out there. So you may not always be at this institution for whatever reason. I mean, how many times have you been at a conference and people have said, hey, we have this position coming open. We're really interested in talking to you about it. And they pull you aside. You may not always be at the institution in which you currently reside. So you have to think about your future. A lot of that has to do with your research, your published work. People know you because they're reading the journals as well. They're not only attending the conferences, but they're reading journals. So they want the name recognition. And recognizing the quality of your work as viewed through your peers when they evaluate for the peer review journals, that's significant. I can't tell you how, honestly, I couldn't even tell you how many editorial boards and review editor I've been over the years, and it's amazing. It hurts my heart how many reject evaluations I offer because they're not well developed.
Speaking of that, as part of the tenure process, you can either publish an article on your own, or you can publish an article.
Oh, good question, Richard.
With a colleague.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you publish an article with a colleague, does that count as much as if you had published it on your own? And does it really matter whether your name is first or second on that article when it's published?
Richard, you are so brilliant. Yeah, that's vital. Actually, that's a vital concern. A lot of my colleagues at other universities, when we publish together, and whenever they're going up for promotion and tenure or promotion of whole or whatever, I actually have to write down the percentage of work that I brought to the manuscript as well as they brought to the manuscript, no matter whether I was first author or they were first author. First author is the desired position because you're the lead on the work. First author is everything. And I learned this the hard way. You never give up full first authorship. Even if you're the lead on it, you never give up first authorship. I foolishly did that way too many times.
Because you're a nice person, yes.
I believed, oh, well, I'm going up for promotion and tenure. I really need first authorship. Oh, yeah, sure, whatever. Mm-hmm. Learn that lesson the hard way. So don't do that. If you wrote it, then you deserve first author. And then second and third and fourth and down the road, first and second authorships are vital. Third author is usually someone more of an editor type position. Fourth author, you might as well not be on the paper type. So first and second authorship is a very, very, very big deal. If someone is just editing, then sure, give them a third authorship. If it was their idea, then and you're the one that's actually writing the paper, then they probably have second because it was their idea, but you are the one that developed it. You're the one that led the charge, so to speak.
So here's another question. Research comes out sometimes from projects that the professor is engaged in, and these
Like grants?
Grants.
Uh-huh.
So, if you get a really large grant from, let's say, National Science Foundation or some other large agency, we're talking 500,000, a million.
Even a small grant, 50,000, 100,000.
Does that count as much as research in the tenure process?
That's a gray area right now.
Does money speak?
Because actually, well, today, yes. But the truth is that when you obtain these grants, part of the grant expectation is that you're not just getting money to do a little project. It's supposed to be some type of research effort where it is vital and will add knowledge to the knowledge base within the field. So the appropriate response to obtaining a grant is that you have publications coming out of the grant. That is, whether stated or unstated, that is the expectation. And a lot of people who review grants will go looking at that, especially when it comes time for promotion and tenure. Great, you brought in $1 million. What's the outcome? What did you get published?
Well, the outcome is $300,000 in overhead to the university or more.
And that's a different political discussion about the world of academia right now. But if you're bringing in grant money and you're not getting publications out of it, there's an issue that you really might want to review.
Now, I would imagine that would vary according to the ranking of the university. In other words, if you're a tier one, the effect of the amount of money you're bringing into the university for a research grant. In other words, if you're a tier one university, I suspect that they might want to really see a lot of publications. If you go down the ranks to the more normal, regular universities, they might say, well, maybe you're not publishing all that much from that grant, but my gosh, we're bringing in $400,000 a year into the university in overhead.
Well, and that is a consideration. And if you are looking for other positions, grant monies are also an important consideration. On the other hand, it's a fair statement that if you're bringing in this kind of money, what are you doing with it? If you're developing projects, if you're developing models, if you're bringing in data, what are you doing with all of this information? Why isn't it being developed into manuscripts and sharing with the larger populace? Because The grant money, if it's from a foundation, they have missions. If it's from federal or state, it's the tax money. This is the people's money that you're messing with. So you should be adding to the knowledge base.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. And we've reached the end of yet another edition of Technology and Education Today. For Technology and Education Today, I'm Richard Smith.
And I'm Caroline Crawford. Bye.